Woolly week here for any local sports fan. If it wasn't Buck Showalter and Ubaldo Jimenez last week, it certainly has been the offensive coordinator position here. Marty Morningway going to take over now for the fired Mark Trestman, here to talk all things offense because he is a running gun gangster in a sad, restless age. He is Mike Tanier, the NFL lead writer at Bleacher Report. You can also follow his journey out on Twitter at Mike Tanier, Tanier, out of the fighting city of Philadelphia, and the brotherly love that we're all feeling here with the John Harbaugh, Marty Morningwig connection. What's up, Mike? How are you, man? We're firing offensive coordinators in Week 5. That's not panic or anything, right?
No, it's nothing to panic about. Hey, happy No More Mark Trestman Day. That's the way to look at it.
You know, he is a maligned character now, isn't he? And, I find him to be kind of a nice man and, his work out in Chicago. And I thought this was a little bit of a shotgun marriage. That's what I'm calling it. I mean, they obviously, and Kubiak has his own problems, obviously, with his health this week, and we can get to that a little later on for what they're going through Thursday night with the Chargers. But, they never wanted Kubiak to leave. Kubiak never wanted to leave, and then next thing you know, Elway comes, he's gone, and within 48 hours, Trestman's the offensive coordinator, and I thought, well, that's kind of quick, I thought, when it all went down, and now the firing was kind of quick on Monday.
Yeah, Trestman is the kind of guy that we love because he gives lots of open answers and interesting tidbits and is really, ingratiating to us and all. So we come away saying, man, what a great football mind. And if you look through his career, he's done tremendous things with football. But, what we saw with the Ravens is what we saw with the Chicago Bears. And, when his team is down by 3, he coaches like they're down by 30. The running game disappears. Passing game becomes very predictable, and teams just feast on it. And I think we've seen that this year over and over again, where there were so many opportunities where the Ravens should have been playing a little more of an on-schedule game. Against Washington this week, they should have been running the ball a little bit more. They were running effectively with West. Fell behind a little bit, and it was like panic mode way too early in the game. Bad way to run the system. Gets too predictable. And, now we've seen it in 2 stops. It's time to make some kind of move.
When I wrote the book on the championship 4 years ago, I got together with Joe Flacco up there in Audubon, up near you, and we were out having an iced tea and eating some chicken sandwiches and watching some basketball and talking about Cam Cameron, And this was 3 months after Cameron was gone, maybe 5-6 weeks after the Super Bowl was won, and, the parade and all that stuff. And the one thing that Joe talked about very candidly was we would game plan all week about what we're going to do in this circumstance, that circumstance, and then we get to the game and then, Cam would do whatever the hell he wanted to do, I don't know that is the case with Trestman, but it certainly appears to be the game plan was run. They go down the field, they score 7 points. And then they just abandon everything that worked. And I think it is a little different with this team because of the moving parts on the offensive line, Mike, because they wanted to start a rookie left tackle. They wanted to start a rookie left guard and have it sort of all mesh. The left tackle's got a bad wheel. The left guard got hit in the head. Next thing you know, he's playing left tackle. The backup left guard is playing right tackle. It really has been a problem for the O-line over the last 5 weeks. And to some degree, maybe Trestman has some thought that, well, maybe we're going to pass block better than we're going to run block in this circumstance. But I don't know how you go away from something that worked as well as it did. And by the way, just for your fun facts, because I know you're into that, this is the second time the Ravens have lost to the Redskins in 4 years. They only play them every 4 years. And it's the second time an offensive coordinator didn't make it to 10 a.m. the next morning. That is strange.
I've heard that. I've heard that one already a couple of times. It's pretty amazing that happened. But, you never protect a young or battered offensive line by pass protecting more. You do it by run blocking and running the ball because it does 2 things. First of all, they get to fire out the assignments are simpler. Second of all, you keep your offense more on schedule. You avoid 3rd and longs if you gain 3 yards on first, 3 yards on second. You do that kind of thing. 3rd and 4 versus 3rd and 10 is a big difference from pass protecting. So it's never a good idea to say, oh, we got to make moves. Maybe these guys are pass protectors. It's a strange way for a guy like Trestman to look at it. I don't think he's ever looked at it like that. I think it's kind of what you suggested about Cameron. Not so much the entire game plan would disappear, but just that the parts of the game plan that involved running, especially in the situation they're in, especially with the winds that was happening on Sunday, when you get down by 4 points, you can't turn around and say, oh, now we're going to the off, catch up, hurry up, whatever it is game plan. You've got to be disciplined in that. And I've seen in 2 stops that's not how Trestman operates.
Well, and obviously Harbaugh had, worn out. Marty Morningwig was a guy up there in Philadelphia doing some mad scientist things back in the Donovan McNabb and Andy Reid era. And obviously Harbaugh has brought him along. He brought, other buddies along the way, and Steve Spagnuolo and some other guys from that staff. That's the way this business works. Harbaugh's a big trust guy. I don't think it was any shock that Morningwig came in as a quarterback coach to be the next guy in case Trestman got a job somewhere else, or in this case, he wanted to fire Trestman. Marty Morningwig takes over here. He kind of has a little West Coast and passing pension in him as well, right?
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. He started out as a West Coast guy. He was in Detroit for a while as a West Coast guy, had a bad stint as head coach, came in under Andy Reid, and it kind of morphed under Andy Reid, where he was doing a lot of the things when Michael Vick was here in the very late Donovan McNabb era, and they were mixing in all kinds of wildcats. They were starting to mix a little option in here and there, and it became very kitchen sinky, which is cool. Went over to New York and had to get very kitchen sinky with all the different quarterbacks they had there, and rotating guys in and out, and the end of the Sanchez era when they would like grab whoever and have them play some wildcat. So he has all of that in there. I don't think you're going to see a lot of that. I think it's going to be a little bit more of that West Coast roots thing. I just wonder, knowing Joe, knowing his strengths and weaknesses, it would be great to find somebody who was more Kubiak-like and said, okay, a little more match protect, a little more 7-step drop and fling the ball downfield, then go to another variation of the West Coast offense. That's the concern right now. Of course, they made a move like that a couple of years ago when they went in with Cameron for Caldwell, and it worked out great, so let's wait and see.
Mike, how do you feel about Joe Flacco being more involved and more hands-on and more audible at the line? We certainly don't see a whole lot of that, and part of this could be confusion on the offensive line. Part of it could be on the road, not wanting to do that at the Meadowlands this week or next, and we'll get to those games. But, Flacco has a very, very strong sense at this point about offense, and as we pointed out, this is his 5th offensive coordinator since the beginning of the 2012 season. He knows lots of voices. I mean, we're not even counting Jim Zorn and Hugh Jackson and, all the other guys that came before Cam Cameron, which there were several of those as well. He's had a lot of mad scientists he's worked with here.
Right, and he's also run no huddle and done things like that, I think, successfully. I think that they were very good moving in and out of no huddle. So you'd like to see more of those things. And, at his stage of his career, he has the knowledge, and I think he should have control of that. It's hard to get a lot of that when you keep making changes, though. So, bringing in Morningweg, maybe this isn't going to be a total system change. It'll probably be more of a tweak and a play calling procedure change there. Maybe this is the opportunity. The thing is, I don't know if it's something you can do in week 1, week 2, week 3 under that new coordinator. He's got to get his feet wet. They got to get their structure together of how they do things. So I think it could be a good plan down the line. I just don't think it's something that's going to help in the short term.
He is Mike Tanier. You can follow his journey at Bleacher Report. He tweets, he blogs, he writes. He is the national lead writer at Bleacher Report, as well as the co-author of the Football Outsiders Almanac from the great Garden State of New Jersey, where I met Bruce Springsteen 2 weeks ago in Freehold. I did, Mike Tanier. It's like a sports writer disease. I think every sports writer has like some sort of Springsteen Jones. I've been up and down my Facebook and my Twitter and seeing all that. For the Ravens and going up to the great state of New Jersey twice as a segue over the next 2 weeks. We still have some space on our Giants bus this week. These are two kind of knocked around football teams, and certainly the Jets the worst of the bunch, but the Giants didn't look like much on Sunday night against the Vikings. Winnable games in your mind for the Ravens on the road here? I mean, we looked at the beginning of the schedule to be a lot softer than the end, but hell, we just lost to the Washington Redskins, bro.
You lost to the Washington Redskins, who are a little bit more solid than I think the two teams you are facing. So I think these are winnable games. Looking at the Giants with an offensive line that's really in disarray, if you think you guys have problems, these guys can't block anybody, and they're trying to push reporters around after the game in the locker room. So that's not a good sign.
I saw that.
Yeah, that's a weird situation. Apparently, Flowers has a bit of a reputation for things like that. He doesn't have a reputation for playing left tackle and protecting Eli Manning right now. So this is a team you can beat in the trenches. That's certainly the case. And the Jets are in turmoil right now. I mean, the problem the Jets had is they went out there with their older veteran talent, with the guys we all know the names of, Revis, Fitz, Marshall, Decker, Mangold, those guys, very expensive guys, and not a lot under them in terms of rising star talent, because the last couple of drafts have not been very successful. A couple of those guys have gotten hurt. Revis has gotten hurt. Decker is out for a while. Mangold got banged up a little bit in the last game. every time they lose one of those guys, it's like panic mode because they don't have any supporting cast around it. They become a one-dimensional team, and they become a very easy-to-beat team.
Now, you're up in Philadelphia, so, I mean, it's only fair that I would ask about the Eagles and Carson Wentz and just this whole notion that the Dak Prescotts and the Carson Wentzes, and at some point Jared Goff will probably get behind, that these guys and the Trevor Simeons and the Paxton Lynches, that they are the ones leading the 4-1 and 3-1 football teams right now. This is... You and I have been doing this a long time. I didn't think this was possible, right? I mean, I didn't think 4 or 5 rookie quarterbacks could maybe at the end of the year flash a little bit and some mop-up time or whatever, but to be doing it at the nut-cut time of September and October when the season's on the line and the Cowboys are going to have a hell of a decision to make, and obviously for the Eagles, they would have been playing with Sam Bradford right now had Teddy Bridgewater not ripped up his knee.
They would have been playing with Sam Bradford, and I know the Cowboys would have had Kellen Moore out there stumbling around like a fool with Prescott backing him up for at least the first couple of those games if he hadn't gotten hurt. And there's going to be a regression. I think we see some very good quarterbacks. I think Prescott is going to be a solid quarterback, have a very good future. I think Wentz has a sky-high future. I think Goff will get his chance. I think Lynch can come around as time goes on. We're going to see some regression, and some of this is going to fall by the wayside a little bit by the end of the season. But, you know, when you hear there's no good quarterbacks, I did a thing last year. I talked to a couple of general managers, and they say there have been a lot of really, really good quarterbacks coming out of college in the last couple of years. Derek Carr, as an example, who's letting it up right now. Bridgewater, who would have been starting probably for a 5-0 team if he hadn't gotten hurt, Bradford hadn't come in. People are high on Winston and high on Mariota, even though they're off the slow starts. You've seen a lot of that in recent seasons. We're also seeing teams smarter about how they develop these quarterbacks. I think you and I can still remember back in the days when everything was a West Coast offense, and you say, well, it's going to take 3 years to master this, and you're going to tell a quarterback under a 4-year contract to take 3 years to master something. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Teams are finding ways to get the guys prepared early, getting good systems in there, and we're getting some good prospects coming out. And you know what you're going to see even more of even next year? Next year there's an incredible quarterback class coming through, I think. And you're going to see even more of what we see this year, which is quarterbacks with hot starts and really good fundamental knowledge coming in and being able to play in those first few games.
Man, AFC's gone, all but chalk other than Derek Carr, right? I mean, the good teams are still good. The Steelers, the Broncos, the Patriots, and the bad teams, the Dolphins and the Jaguars. I mean, the Browns, it's like they've fallen and they can't get up. I mean, even the Jets, they kind of stink too.
Bad organizations is what you see there. There you have very stable long-term organizations, obviously the Patriots, Broncos, incredible stability. Steelers do things the way they do things over and over for years. Really, the Harbaugh, Newsom, Ravens are very stable organizations. So it's hard to rise up into that. And you have these terrible ones at the bottom. Teams are always changing general managers. Teams with ownership turmoil like the Tennessee Titans. So you have this kind of thing where it's status quo year after year after year. A little bit less of that in the NFC where there's a little more rise and fall. We saw the Seahawks as an organization start to rise. The Falcons, you're still starting to discover maybe they have good organizational strength behind them. So you see a little bit of a different situation there where it's easier to rise and fall. AFC, the rich manage to stay richer because the poor stay so very poor.
He is Mike Tanner. You can follow him. He is the run and gun gangster. He also wrote a piece this week that I want to talk about. The next big thing, sleep science, is becoming the NFL secret weapon. I know Harbaugh's up on this, and I know Chip Kelly was really into this in Philadelphia. I know ESPN runs their segments on it. And you tackled this week, for lack of a better expression. Some thoughts about this sleep science thing, and where did you go to learn more about this? And I'm sure, somewhere out there's some Mike Dicker and some old school, coach saying it doesn't matter. But, these are human beings, right?
Yeah, they are human beings, and you're right. You still get that old school, rest is weakness. And if you're resting, then you're not stay up all night or whatever. And then you have your grandma saying, well, get a good night's sleep. And that's common sense. Well, the night before the game, you want to get good rest and all. We've discovered, when I got to talk to some scientists from Australia, some from England, some from the U.S., some who've been consulting with teams who've made more significant discoveries about sleep. And one of the most exciting ones is that sleep is a natural performance enhancer in that your body releases human growth hormone as you sleep. So if you can get rest in good cycles, then you're going to heal faster and you're going to get stronger. And that's not something where the night before the game you need sleep. It's that you need good sleep habits. they also talked about this idea of sleep hygiene, that you can tell an athlete all you want, oh, you got to go get a good night's sleep. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll try to get to bed, but, you know, I'm 22. I might be going out and just seeing some ladies, or I might be playing Call of Duty in my room because I'm a younger dude, and that's what I do until 3 in the morning. They not only monitor these guys, but they educate them about getting better habits, getting better eat habits, shutting off their electronics, doing things like that. So that these guys come in, they get that better habit. And one of the things that works that makes it easy to sell to these guys is there's players like Tom Brady and Richard Sherman who are way on board on it. So not only is your coach telling you this, but Larry Fitzgerald is another one. The guy who's been playing for 14 years is telling you it as well.
Well, and I think for the Seahawks, you know, using sleep monitors and having some success and having one of their star players buy in. Look, if Ray Lewis would have walked into the Ravens clubhouse in 2007 and said, this is what I'm doing, that's what everyone would have done. I mean,
Yes.
and for Ray, a lot of it really was working out and diet. He got a lot of that literally from Rod Woodson and from Shannon Sharp early in his career. I mean, no one ate like Shannon Sharp. I mean, Shannon literally would compartmentalize all of the food, all the supplements, nutrition he would have, and measured every single thing. Sleep is one of those other things that, you know, hasn't been measured so much by humans who play sports, right?
Right, and you know what? Another acceptance level of it is that you got these things like the Fitbits and these wearable techs right now. So you know your normal person will be putting this thing on. Hey, I slept 7.3 hours last night. That was a good night's sleep. But what the NFL has is much more advanced than that and can find out lots of different other metrics as well. But you know, a couple of years ago, players would have been like, "This is ridiculous. This is horrible." Or it's an invasion of privacy, which is still something to be worried about. Now, you know, if you know their sister-in-law or their girlfriend or things like that wear a Fitbit and all, like, oh, well, why don't I do that? And if the team has something even better that's going to give me more data and help me get even in better shape and things like that, why don't I do that as well?
What's your favorite story in the NFL so far this year, Mike Tanier?
I'm working on about 2 hours sleep, so I don't even know right now. But here in Pennsylvania, I got to go with Carson Wentz.
Whoa. Did you just say Pennsylvania? I've never heard that one. You just came up with that, didn't you? Look at you.
It went from clever to horrible in like 3 hours about 3 weeks ago.
I love that. Pennsylvania. Oh, they love that. So, you know what? The one thing about this kid, though, is he might be able to handle Philadelphia, right? I mean, Philadelphia's not for everybody. Trust me. I was up there at the hockey rink 6 months ago when they're throwing stuff on the ice. I mean, it is a tough town. It is a different kind of place. He seems to be like this nice, brushed-up kid that doesn't seem to care so much about Philly's toughness.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of the Flacco personality in him, and I think that's a work in progress. We're going to see what, you know, the North Dakota media and North Dakota fan base is versus the Philadelphia fan base. But, you know, having stuff roll off your back is good, and also being a kid like that, where it's hard for some of the, like, hardcore haters to find something to latch onto. Obviously going in, working, giving 110%, all of that thing, not a lot of flashiness to it. That'll help him because it'll keep the dogs off of his back for a while if things start to go bad.
All right, we got a new OC here. It is Marty Morningwig. He is in for Mark Trestman. Mike Tanier covers all things football. That's all he does out at Bleacher Report, as well as at Mike Tanier on Twitter, where he is a run-and-gun gangster in a sad, restless age. Love having you on, Tanier. Hope our paths cross sometime between here and a cheesesteak somewhere on the streets of Philadelphia, as Bruce Springsteen once sang.
Your buddy Bruce Springsteen. Take care, Nestor, and enjoy your week.
You got it. I will sing a little Atlantic City to you, but I'll save that for the next break. Mike Tanier can be followed. It's Tanier on Twitter, as well as at Bleacher Report BR. You can find me out in the Bayou Toyota Audio Vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device by downloading the TuneIn Radio app. We come in crystal clear from anywhere you are. Big thanks to our sponsors at Buffalo Wild Wings and Owings Mills for putting the C.J. Mosley event together on Tuesday night for the Bone Marrow Registry and for There Goes My Hero, as well as our Best Seat in the House promotion that we do every single Monday here at WNST. We're out there on Monday nights, Monday Night Football, halftime wing eating challenge, and of course the limo and the Best Seat in the House. It's Buffalo Wild Wings and Owings Mills. Now our 6th year with them. Big time thanks to Scott Schwartz and those folks who take good care of us at Buffalo Wild Wings. You can find me out in the Bayou Toyota Audio Vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device. You can download the TuneIn Radio app. We come in live wherever you are. Morning newspaper ships to your email inbox at 7 a.m. each and every morning, and that is powered up by Planet Fitness and PlanetFitness.com. Still $10 a month to get in the best shape of your life. Last but never least, breaking news happens, well, anytime, including at 9:33 a.m. on Monday when Marty Morningweg replaced Mark Trestman. That came first on the WNST text service. If you're on the service, you know how good it is. It's all brought to you by Coons Ford of Security Boulevard. And Dennis Colatzos will be here on Thursday from 3 until 5, driving you home, getting you ready for the Denver-San Diego game, as well as a bunch of baseball playoffs this weekend, and the Ravens making their trip to the Meadowlands in the swamps of Jersey to take on the New York Giants on Sunday. Have a few seats left on our bus. If you want to jump on it, throw me an email, nasty@WNST.net, or click on the Trips tab at WNST.net. We are WNST.net, AM 1570 and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.